everybody, and welcome to the Sporting Mates podcast. This one is the football show. I am Siddharth, and I'm joined by Andrea today.
Hey man, how's it going?
Pretty good. How's your day been today?
Oh man, it's been quite hectic lately. I've been applying to a lot of jobs lately, so fingers crossed that I can get some roles.
Yeah, pretty happy day for me. As I was talking to you before recording the podcast, Spain managed to reach the finals of the FIFA Women's World Cup. So
I know, I was like, and you were like cheering. I was like, yes. Like I forgot who's the player that you said like you're.
Aitana Bonmati, yeah, for the Ballon d'Or, for everyone to listen to this, for everyone listening to this, Aitana Bonmati for the female Ballon d'Or.
Well, I feel like you're wrong. India and Matildas are going to win the World Cup. So in the end...
I don't think so it's going to happen. But hey, for our Australian listeners, for our Australian audience, all right, Matildas for the win. So guys, as we said before, like this is going to be part of the Sporting Mates podcast. The football show will be hosted by me and Andrea every week. Yep. Hopefully, as we get the time going... As we see the world of football progress ahead, a great season on the horizon. On that, I would like to ask Andrea, who is your favorite athlete?
Ooh, there's a couple of names that I can say. Like, if we're talking about football, then definitely Ricardo Kaka comes up. Jisung Park comes up. And Wayne Rooney would come up. And, of course, like everyone's surprised, like, it's usually Ronaldo or Messi. Like, no. It's going to be those three. And if I have to choose one, I'll go for Jisung Park. He's just this phenomenal player. He's the perfect definition of CDM. For example, please explain CDM. I'll just show him a picture of Jisung Park. He literally just the amount of kilometers he runs in the field, and then that game against AC Milan where he guarded Pirlo, he was like literally everywhere around Pirlo. Pirlo got so frustrated, and then this. Oh my god, his pace, his gameplay, his passes, it's just truly out of this world. It's just pure class, to be honest.
Yeah, I have a pretty same kind of preference. I did not go for Messi or Ronaldo as my favorite athlete, I should say. My favorite one is Sergio Busquets.
Busquets. Wow, okay.
Yeah, his intelligence in midfield is something which is personified when the ex-Spain manager Vicente Del Bosque said, if you want to know how Spain play, you watch Sergio Busquets play. And through that, you could understand the whole tiki-taka system, the whole passing revolutionized system, which, today's Man City is defined by. I wanted to ask your favorite football team.
Favorite football team, of course, United true and true. Come on, the Red Devils, let's go.
Yeah, it's the same for me as well. I do watch a bit of La Liga, so I do watch Barcelona as well. Could you tell me your favorite sporting moment, Andrea?
Sporting moments. All right. Definitely, I'm gonna have to go for. Ooh, there's a lot actually. I'm gonna go for. I know it's something that is very. It's not even my team, but it's actually for Chelsea. When Chelsea won their first UCL title against Bayern, I think I was very impressed with that match, especially with Drogba.
Yep.
I think Drogba just scored like 2 last-minute goals. I think he scored like a last-minute goal to tie the game.
Yep.
And to make it into penalties.
Yep.
And then the fact that he scored the winning penalty, and then that's when I realized like this guy is just special. And then that's for UCL moments. But if we're talking the biggest moment of football game it's so easy. It's recent. It was last year, the World Cup final, Argentina versus France. It was a 3-3, and then it went to penalties.
Yep.
And then Messi finally won his World Cup, and football is healed.
That's a great one. Football is healed. I have the same moment, Messi winning the World Cup as one of my favorite sporting moments. But I'll also take you back to the 2007 UCL finals, because it was one of the first UCL finals I ever witnessed in my life. Watched John Terry miss the penalty.
Wait. Did you watch it in person?
No, I didn't watch it.
No,
on
no.
UFC.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, no way. It's jealous as hell. I was like, what?
And then, I remember the nerves when Ronaldo missed the penalty, and I was like, oh no, it's not going to be a year. Oh no. And then Terry missed the final one, and I could see the joy coming onto our faces. Yeah. And the team lift the UCL title in Moscow that year. It was fantastic.
To be honest, like, if we're talking about 2007, I was like, damn, I was like 7 years old. I didn't get like football or anything. I was just like watching I think, when you're a kid, you don't focus on analysis. You just watch your team, and then you focus purely on the passion of the players. You focus purely on the emotions, the joy of the game, admiring the players, and showing their love for the game. So that's why it's like, it takes you back, like, when it comes to like 2007, 2009, or like just the 2000s match. And yeah, it's just, and then now, like, when we're like, as we grow older, we start to like, oh, I love this moment because, like, during this analysis, they played very well. They did a lot of passes, but then, yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. From beautiful moments, come to the, as I would like to tell the guys that who are listening to the podcast, that we both are based in Melbourne. Mm-hmm. We're recording right now at Andrea's home, which is in a pretty beautiful place, right in the heart of CBD.
And don't be shocked by our voices, guys. This is like literally our first episode. It's very low budget. We're literally sitting in a chair with a phone in the middle of a
Yeah, it's just two guys trying to create a podcast and hopefully entertain you guys. But yeah, coming back to Melbourne. Well, Melbourne hosted the FIFA Women's World Cup, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I heard both of us, not just me, but both me and Siddharth volunteered for the FIFA Women's World Cup.
That's right. We worked in the FIFA Women's World Cup. Andrea worked in the media section.
I was part of the media operations and stadium broadcasts. And Siddharth, I'm not so sure where you were though.
I was in the accreditation. So we are one of the first guys who start the tournament off, giving out the accreditation devices, you should say. You could use those devices to enter the stadiums and do your
no
stuff.
way.
Yeah.
Maybe you were the one who gave. You were the guy. You were the one who printed my accreditation.
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
That's why when I saw you, I was like, "It's a familiar face." And I was like, "Huh." I was like, "I've seen you before," but then I was like, "Oh, okay." But then because we got some, volunteer experience, we got some inside information, we got like some exclusive scenes as well, and I'm pretty sure all of you viewers are just jealous. But well, too bad you didn't volunteer. So, yeah.
So I would like to start off this section of talking about the FIFA Women's World Cup by going through the tournament and how this tournament has been great in terms of teams which have like a lot of favorites have exited the World Cup already.
Yes, definitely. I feel like you see teams like Brazil. Let's list them down. Brazil, Canada, Germany, USA,
Japan.
Yeah. Japan's already eliminated.
Yeah.
And then there's one more team that I feel...
France
is out.
Yeah.
And we eliminated them. Matildas. And I was like, hey, that's right. I was like, Asia is going to take over. And like, Europeans can just fuck off.
You want to go through some of the teams who some of the favorites who exited the World Cup and how the campaign was?
Okay. I think starting off, I'm gonna go with US first, definitely.
Right.
At first, to be honest, I just felt they were just too arrogant on their side. Like, of course, like being we're a 4-time champion, and then I think 4 times Olympic champion as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I feel so. So, of course, they're just imagining them like, yeah, we're the 4-time champion. Just them walking in their suits.
Yeah.
And with glasses. And then it just... I get the confidence, but then at the same time, I was like, you got to take these games seriously. And eventually it paid off. And then you can see how, like, the US team is... How do I say this? They're not... They didn't really... I don't see any... passion from the players.
There was no intimidation factor this time in the US team.
Yeah, exactly. It was just an intimidation factor. And then the fact that this team, how how do I say this? It's just like, I feel like they're just relying too much on their past, to be honest. They just think like, oh, just because we're the US team, like we can always win. I was like, no. I was like, this is proof. We've seen some shocking moments in football. We've seen some South Africa beating Italy, and then that just comes to show. And it's not just in women's football. It's like literally in men's football. You can see, sorry to say this, but like small nations like beating like big countries.
Yep.
And then that just comes to shows that when it comes to football, anything can happen.
That is true. That is the true essence of the sport. Actually, I would like to go to Canada. Canada. I watched the game against Nigeria, the tournament opener. It was. I remember clearly Christine Sinclair, who is the leading scorer in women's football, missed the penalty, which might have costed the Canadians their spot. True. In the round of 16. But it was overall poor performance for the Olympic champions. Well, the coach didn't want to point out to the off-field issues, but the Canadian soccer was plagued by labor disagreement between the Canadian soccer and the team. And it was overall generally a poor performance. The coach also said that it is pretty new for this team, that they were coming in with a lot of pressure of being an Olympic champion and then facing the...
That might be the factor as well for the big teams, considering the US teams are eliminated. They were like, of course, like everyone expects them to perform good, but then sometimes that pressure can crack them as a team.
That is true, yeah. And the same thing happened to Canada as well. And I was reading on Brazil's performance as well. I was pretty, I should say, heartbroken, for Marta, who is like the biggest legend in women's football. That
to me, she's the goat of female football.
She's the goat of
his mentality is just outstanding.
Outstanding mentality, yeah. I did watch Brazil go out on a limp against Jamaica. Jamaica held them to a draw.
Did you watch the game, actually?
Yeah, I was there. And that was the first time I met you in the stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember I was like watching the game. I was so into the game and then so frustrated with the Brazilian side during that match. But fair play to Jamaica, to be honest. They defended so well.
Yep.
And to be honest, Brazil, they were... I didn't see any of that flair, that Brazilian flair performance. Mm-hmm. It was their passing was shit, sorry. Their passing was absolutely horrendous. They couldn't, and the control of the ball as well. Yeah. I didn't really see much of that as well.
I was talking to some Brazilian fans who are my colleagues at my job, and they were saying like the girls are pretty young.
Yeah.
And like they had only... They had pretty less veteran experience to go and perform good in this World Cup, which is fair to say, because I think the average age of the Brazilian squad was under 25 or around 25 or something.
25. Yeah. So there's lack of
experience,
international football experience, which is fair enough. But then, I reckon I to be honest, I thought that they had a chance at least until the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
To be honest, especially having Marta as if you have Marta, a true leader, and to be honest, if he goes to the pitch, then she's the captain. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be honest, like if you have Marta as your role model and in the team, I'm pretty sure that will add that mentality. She can influence her mentality, her lessons, and her experience to the younger players. So that's why, regardless, I'm just like a bit disappointed with the team. I was like, I could have easily. It could have been easily Brazil versus Australia right now.
Yeah, that is true. Could have been from Brazil versus Australia, and on that, I would like to take you to the Matildas side of the tournament. The whole nation is backing the girls.
Let's go Tillies!
Yeah, and the whole nation is backing the girls to make the finals, beat England, eternal rivals in almost all the sports. What's your experience? What's your experience been like watching them, actually?
Watching them, yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest, like I think they're the first game versus Ireland. I'm sorry to say this, guys, but during that game, I felt they were a bit slacking. especially in terms of passing, in terms of attacking as well. They didn't really show. I think it was like more towards like a, how do you say, like those games where you just like play to like to know like, oh, this is just to test out the game, test out.
It's always the first game is.
It's always the first game,
just
to like test out the field,
test out the field, test out the tactics and how you want to play. Yeah,
exactly. And plus, like, it's fair enough. It's going against Ireland, should be an easy win. But during the second game, to be honest, we played well. I would say like we actually played well, but what cost us is our defense. Like our defense was very slacking, and say it all you want, I feel like the Matildas here, like I don't know about you. Like you can argue with me, but then I don't think Matildas, they run in terms of pace. They're not quite fast, and then I think that's what kind of cost them. And then if we're talking about body size and like strength, we keep losing against the Nigerian team, which is why we conceded a lot.
I think that is an additional factor to the lack of pace and physicality would be the absence of Sam Kerr, which
to be honest,
I think a lot of guys would know that Sam Kerr was diagnosed with a calf injury.
Yeah.
And till now she has had limited presence on the pitch due to that.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But then, like, you can slowly see during that game, you can slowly see the presence of Caitlin Ford as the player stepping up, especially from the first game. I think during that second game, I don't think Mary Fowler played. I'm mistaken.
Yeah, Mary Fowler didn't play the
Mary
first game.
Fowler didn't play the first game or second game?
I think she didn't play the second game.
Second game. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's why. Like, so someone had to step up, and pretty sure Caitlin Ford played magnificent, and Haley Rosso to the rescue again.
Yep.
Haley Rosso saved us like technically 2 times.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yep.
So, and all right, I'm gonna be honest. To be honest, during this World Cup, I had limited knowledge about like the women's football.
Yeah.
But when you start getting into the women's football culture, the international football culture, oh my god, it just goes into your head, and then it's just stuck there.
Yeah.
For example, like the Matildas, like it's crazy how like back then I'm usually like a men's football.
Yeah.
So I never really had to recognize women's football. But then now, like, I'm proud to say, I was like, damn, like, look at the Matildas. Like, have you seen the news? Like, they have more, they're getting more viewerships, more recognition compared to
it had the same viewership the last game against France, as much as the round of 16 game against France as well, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. The girls took the revenge on men's behalf. Yeah.
Exactly. And what's weird is that, I find this, like, crazy how like now I can name like so many more like Australian female footballers compared to like men's. And then I'm actually a fan of these players now. Like back then, like to be honest, back then I didn't know who Mary Fowler was. I didn't know who Kate Lee was. I didn't know who Ellie Carpenter was. And then now everyone knows her. Everyone knows their name.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Haley Rosso. And then oh my god, like third game. Did you watch the third game actually live on the pitch?
Yeah, I was not able to attend that game, and I was going to ask you, like, how was your experience watching that game live?
Oh my god, it's like every footballer's dream come true. By the way, guys, this is like a public service announcement. Like, if you want to try volunteer for a like major sports tournament, go for it. That was one of the most beautiful moments of my life, especially being a football fan. Just imagine going to the pitch, you see live there on the field of play, just the players doing their own thing, and then you got all the Australian fans literally surrounded by Australian fans, and they're all just screaming, and then it's beautiful, and I guess that's what we call it, the beautiful game. So that's why it's like, you just when you're on the pitch, you just soak in the emotions, you just soak in just every single moment, just the plays, the passion coming from the players, the fans. Some of the fans can be a bit crazy as well, so that's a bit of an entertainment as well. And then, like, of course there was like some starstruck moment. I was like literally this close to like Mary Fowler, because players like Mary Fowler, Haley Rosso, Ellie Carpenter.
Yeah.
Courtney Vine.
Yep.
So like and so much more, because you know why? I was at the mix zone actually.
Yeah.
So the mix zone is for those who don't know, mix zone is like an area where players after the match they go to this like sort of like a tunnel-ish, an open tunnel where they get to speak with press. So technically, I was like guarding the players in a way from the media to make sure they don't ask any inappropriate question. But then, yeah, it was a dream come true. But then like you get to see some of them talk as well, and I have to say like all the players from the Matildas are very, very humble, very passionate about the game, and once again very professional. So yeah, what do you think?
A pretty good run by the Matildas. Actually, I didn't expect them to go this far. Since I think the best performance was quarterfinal, long time ago. But yeah, it was great, and especially the game I want to kind of which gets highlighted for me was the last one against France. Like the defense was so good on how they were defending Basha from France, and they had that such a tight defense. Ellie Carpenter was doing a fabulous job.
She was basically like the foundation of our defense as well.
Yeah.
And of course we have to give credit to our goalkeeper.
Yep.
Arnold, and oh my god, amazing goalkeeper. Imagine like you make a save and then suddenly the referee like, nope, you gotta restart. You're out of the line, and then she made the save again.
Yeah.
That is truly out of this world. I was, to be honest, I'm gonna say I was watching the game at Federation Square.
Yeah.
Absolute scenes as well. Let me tell you the story, guys. Just imagine this Asian skinny dude just decided to like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it at Federation Square. I thought I was like at a safe zone. Turns out I was in the middle of the pit. So I was watching the game in the rain, and then I was bringing an umbrella, and then suddenly the MC said, "Hey guys, to support the game, you guys gotta pull down the umbrellas." And then I was like, "Well, all for the Matildas. All right, cool." So I was wet. I was drenched.
Yeah.
I was drenched while watching the game. And then, let me tell you, the first half, I was like seated, like in front of me was a family. It's so random. It was like a family of, I'm sorry, like white people. And then like, they were just like, so they were just like doing their own thing. They brought their kid, and then the kid was like, I don't want to watch. I want to go home. I was like, well, how are you going to do it? You're in the middle of the pit. I was like, so, of course, first half, it was a bit like, it was like, to be honest, a bit boring.
Yeah.
Bit boring, so that it was like, okay, first half done. The second half, that's where all the fun starts. So we moved, me and my mate, like we moved places. Literally, let me tell you the scenes.
Yeah.
In front of me was this French dude, a guy who was supporting France. Just imagine this one dude who's holding this like bloody France flag.
Yeah.
And then on my right is a group of like young Australians. Like crazy Australians. Crazy Australians. They were like chanting like you can shove your Eiffel up. What is it? Something about like you can shove your Eiffel Tower up your ass. I was like, damn, okay,
all right.
And then
it was good banter.
It was a good banter. And then, of course, they did like the Spurs chant. What do you think of France? Shit. Yeah. What do you think of shit? France. That's all right. We hate France. We hate France. We hate France. We hate France. And then I was like, oh my god, they were absolutely just destroying this French dude. They were just saying like you can shove your baguette up your ass as well, like a lot of up your ass, to be honest.
Yeah.
Up your ass joke.
A lot of love for the ass from the Australian teenagers, I should say.
Yeah, I would say most of them are teenagers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is relevant, but to be honest, in my left there's a random group of like no judgment.
Yeah.
A group of lesbians who like just making out. I was like, all right, do your own thing.
Yeah.
But then like, don't be mad at us if we celebrate a goal and then you guys get pushed around, because like, it's gonna get crazy when we score. And
I could definitely say after this that Andrea had one of the most fun time of his life at Federation Square watching Matildas beat France. Actually, moving on to topic 3 on this
Topic
note.
3? Okay.
Yeah, topic 3.
No
Yeah.
worries. Yeah, I think, of course, football is officially back, baby. Let's go. The EPL is officially back.
Yep. The Premier League is back, guys.
No more friendly, no more one of those bullshit games where we have to watch like, oh, it's a friendly, you're gonna be friendly. Fuck off. Like now it's competitive. I want to see some tackles. I want to see some fights, you know? So let it begin.
Yeah, it all began pretty nicely. The champions Manchester City faced Burnley in the first game.
Burnley?
At Turf Moor at the Burnley's home stadium. Beat them 3-0. It was a Haaland show yet again.
Haaland show. Oh, did you watch the second goal?
Oh, yeah.
It was absolutely bang. I was like, woo.
Proper technique.
Proper technique. It was a very hard shot. Keeper couldn't save it. No.
There was no chance.
No, there was no chance.
There was no chance, yeah.
And again, of course, I'm not shocked. I don't know if you realized it, but you do realize that Haaland scored a brace over the past 2 seasons. Yeah. So the last season he actually scored 2 goals, and now he scored another 2 goals. Yeah. So I don't know about you guys, but for next season, if you want to place a bet on Haaland placing 2 goals, go for it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy bet, pretty easy money.
Pretty easy money.
Yep. And I did. The only setback I think was that Kevin De Bruyne got injured in that game.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He did. Yeah.
But they have a lot of good midfielders, so I reckon Rodrigo did actually step up to that game. I don't know if you realize that, but then he was making moves, he was taking shots, he was taking headers as well, which he did score in the end. And then you can really, I think from that performance, to be honest, you can really show that the class of City and how they, to be honest, they kind of outclass all the other Premier League teams. Yeah. Coming from a United fan, I was like, fuck. I was like, they're so good. And they got Haaland. And then we got like what is that? We got the eBay version of Haaland. We got Højlund. But then I was like, this is alright. I'm crying in the inside, but then, sure.
Yeah. From one annihilation to another one, Newcastle beat Aston Villa 5-1 at St. James Park.
Ooh, that's I guess we can really see. And to be honest, I'm a bit shocked by how Eddie Howe was able to change this team true and true, and then the fact that you got players. They signed some really really good players. To be honest, you sign what is it, Sandro Tonali.
Yep.
And then you've signed Harvey Barnes as well. I think Harvey Barnes was a great signing, to be honest, especially
coming from Leicester.
Who was relegated. Of course, they can get it for a cheap price as well. But you can really show. It was really, I think, from that performance, it really shows that we cannot underestimate this team at all. I reckon they'll be a top 6 team, to be honest.
Oh yeah, they would be.
Yeah. I was a bit shocked though with Aston Villa, don't you think? Because I reckon to be honest, pre-match, I thought it would be a tight match, especially with Aston Villa signing all those players, and then suddenly it wasn't even a fair fight. To be honest, they were just getting absolutely destroyed.
Well, Newcastle took the revenge from last season's thrashing, which Aston Villa served them. I remember, I think it was 4-0 at
4-0.
It was at Villa Park. A pretty good game from Alexander Isak as well.
Yes, definitely.
He scored a brace again this time.
Scored a brace?
Yeah, he did. Yep. Before Harvey Barnes came onto the field, they had Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon. Let's give a reminder to the audience that Anthony Gordon was the under-21 Euros man of the tournament. Player of the tournament, I should say.
Player of the tournament.
Wow. Player of the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not expect that.
Yeah, Newcastle got him from Everton in January.
Yeah, how much though? Do you reckon?
I think it was 54 million.
54 million?
I think so.
For Gordon?
Yeah.
So, to be honest, a bit overpriced, but, considering the economy we live in right now,
Yeah, it was a 45 million.
45. Okay.
45 million pounds,
I'll take that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
45. Yeah.
Yeah, he's young as well. Is an English player as well. Adds to the homegrown quota
Of course,
of the squad. Yeah.
there's the English tax. English
yeah.
tax. That's
English
what we call
tax,
it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
This
my
was
God.
pretty good game. Coming from a good game to I should say another good game, but not in terms of result, was the Chelsea versus Liverpool game, which happened.
To be honest, I find that match a bit boring. I'm sorry. I was more interested in your transfer saga when you guys were fighting over Caicedo. That was very childish, but then I love it. I loved it so much. But yeah, if we're talking about the game here, I did saw some of the highlights. I reckon Enzo was
Pretty good.
Enzo was pretty good during the match. And I think other than that, you can tell that this Chelsea team is very new. So it was a bit of a like
A gelling session for the first game.
Yes, so it's like
yeah.
it's more towards like a getting to know. It's like a
Getting
feeling,
to know,
getting to know the team. Like it's more towards like a chemistry, like a testing of
Chilwell
chemistry
played
between players,
pretty
yeah.
good. Like Chilwell was almost like a striker. Like
like a striker.
yeah, he was pretty good, pretty offensive. Was always getting in behind the space left by Trent on the right side. As we guys know, since the last season, the right side of Liverpool's defense was pretty much the Achilles heel, I should say.
Yeah.
One of the weaknesses which Klopp didn't manage to rectify at this transfer window as well.
But who do you reckon during that match was like okay, he was the he was definitely the player of the match, but who do you think was the worst
I think the worst player
during that game specifically?
during that game, I would it would be a bit harsh to say that Darwin Núñez seemed to me like a worst player, that he couldn't get hold.
Wait, who scored for Liverpool again during that match? Was it actually Darwin who scored?
No, it was Luis Diaz who scored off a brilliant pass by Salah from right wing.
Of course. I mean,
made a Mane-esque run, I should add as well, that Luis Diaz made a Mane-esque run, got behind Colwill and scored, yeah.
So, of course, I feel like in terms of Liverpool, like the wingers are like, they're dangerous. But then for Darwin Núñez, to be honest, he's got pace and determination to win the ball and score goals. But then I'm sorry, he's just not finished. He's just not taking his chances. So there's nothing much that we can do.
Who are we kidding? We are Man United fans who always say Darwin Núñez is 100 million flop.
That's true. I can't argue with that. For 100 million, I was like, you laugh at us for getting Harry Maguire for 85 million. It's like, well, you just bought Darwin Núñez for 100 million, so take that L.
Yeah. On that, we come down to the last game, which is
United versus Wolves.
Yeah. What did you think of the performance?
Yeah, so in general, we were shit. We were just purely shit. Oh my God. How the hell did we bought Onana, Mason Mount, Højlund, which, to be honest, okay, he wasn't playing that game. But imagine signing all these players. We have a world-class midfield. We have Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho, all the attack. And we got like Varane. And then suddenly this dude named Matheus Cunha decided to just go straight. No, he didn't even go like left and right. He just goes straight and then like just keeps taking shot. I was like, how the hell? What are we doing? I was so confused. I was like, how are you letting this man just play with our defense?
Yeah, Wolves tried to create an overload in the midfield, and surprisingly, everyone was tipping Wolves to be one of the teams who could get relegated. But Gary O'Neill did a good job. He had, and I was listening to his interview on Sky Sports actually. He said like he didn't have a lot of time before this game against United, but still managed to do enough tactical training, I should say. Yep. For also to add that Wolves who were tipped for relegation were the first away side since 2005 to get around 23 shots on a goal.
That also, I did saw the stats.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off. Sorry, it's just like two United fans talking, so we gotta go deep on this. Oh my god, how do you have this attack and then against Wolves, by the way, against Wolves, you guys took 15 shots, only 3 were on target. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you shitting? I was like, oh my god, these players are getting literally like their weekly. To be honest, I'm pretty sure, damn sure, one of those players, their weekly wages is how much I earn in a year.
Oh, it would be definitely above that, Andrea. I could tell you that.
Definitely, yeah. So, and then here we are, 2 broke people, trying to record a podcast in the middle of the phone, like just dissing our players. While they're just like just raining with cash while performing shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
But I think we could take some of the positives from the performance as well, in terms of Van Bissaka trying to up his offensive ante, I should say. Always known as a guy who gets lost whenever he gets into the attacking third. But managed to loop the ball over at the right time.
Yeah.
And Varane headed in the winner.
To be honest, yeah, I do agree with that. Thank God for that goal. But I think like overall, we have to admit it as a United fans. To be honest, we deserve to lose that match. To be honest, you gotta admit that. Yeah.
You can say that, but also we and we're not forgetting that. Don't worry, guys. We're not forgetting that last minute dash out by Onana to hit Sasha Kaladzic. I think that was a pen.
To be honest, that was clearly a pen. But then of course, being a United fan, you're praying. I was like, please don't.
Please don't. Yeah.
Please don't. So yeah, which is why I said I was like, it should have never been a win in my opinion. So, but as a United fan, like then we'll just have to take the win.
Yeah. What do you think of the game against Tottenham, which is coming up next week?
Against Tottenham for the.
It is the away game.
Yeah. I think for that, definitely there needs to be change.
Yeah.
Especially with. Don't underestimate Angie. Is that how you pronounce it? Angie.
Yeah, Angie Postecoglou.
Angie Postecoglou. There we go. Yeah. So yeah. So I reckon his style of play is actually quite attacking. If you realize, a lot of passing.
Yeah, a lot of passing. Yeah.
And to be honest, that can be served as a disadvantage to us. We don't know what's gonna happen during that match. But then like.
Yeah, I reckon Spurs in the game against Brentford, which was a 2-2 draw, were pretty much open at the back.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think we could take advantage of those runs behind the Spurs defense. Actually,
yeah, that's true. And plus, it's Spurs, so
yeah,
exactly. That's why
Let's take a moment to laugh at them.
You just know. I was like, oh, we're going against the top 16. I was like, yeah, but it's Spurs. Like it's the history of Spurs is just you just know. I was like, it's fine. We can be 2-0 down. Like give it a couple of minutes. They'll just screw up.
Yeah,
they'll just screw up by themselves. I was like, I don't know how you guys managed to do it, but somehow I truly believe they're gonna screw up. So I'm quite confident with the United winning that. The upcoming games against
Spurs. Yeah, I agree. What do you think would be the score? Can you give me a score prediction?
A score prediction? Definitely more than 1 goal during that match. So I'm predicting like 2-1. 2-1. We'll definitely concede, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, they're good attacking side. I think
they have a good attack. How do I say it? Like they're good at attacking, but then. There's this thing about Spurs, like when they scored, somehow they managed to like the opponent will score again.
Yeah.
So let's say in the scenario if Tottenham scores first against United, then I'm quite confident it's like, yeah, we'll score again. We'll score. So it's gonna be like either a 1-1 draw and then it's gonna be 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
That's the Spurs curse is real.
Yeah. It's at the Spurs home as well, guys. So I feel that I would actually go ahead. I will actually go a step ahead and say it could be a 3-2 kind of a game.
3-2?
Yeah.
That's 5 goals.
Yeah. There's going to be 2 attacking sides against each other. So I think there would be a lot of goals.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you
you can take that and place your bets in as well. Don't at me if you lose though.
Nah, don't take Siddharth's option. I was like 5 goals. I was like, I'm sorry, but if you look. You reckon Tottenham will score 2 on us? Have you looked at their attack?
That's true, but hey, it's their home, so I think I would back them to score at least twice. But hey,
That's fine.
as long as we are winning, it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true. Oh, actually, sorry. Is it okay if I just go back a little bit to the World Cup? Actually,
Yeah, sure.
so I actually never told you about the experience I'd had in the Federation Square during that penalty.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God. When they scored the penalty, I think when they scored the winning penalty, I've never thought that's when you can really see the passion of football
Yep.
coming from purely from the fans. And then, for example, like when they scored, we started screaming. Everyone was jumping with joy, and of course, I was getting pushed as well because in front of me was the French dude, so he was getting a lot of shit from the Australian fans there. And then, of course, in the end, it was all good. It was all just some banter. So after the game, we actually shake some of the teenagers and me myself. We actually shake hands with the French dude.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, during that game when France were attacking, I kept booing this dude. I kept like boo boo, like you guys suck. Like, and then, oh my god, I haven't told you about this. Some of the Australian teens like were just dissing like real hard. I think one of the he said like you know like during the coin flip it was like Sam Kerr and then this giant ass girl.
Yeah, Wendy Renard. It was the legendary French captain.
Captain, yeah. But I know I shouldn't be laughing at this, but then it's like some dude, some teenager. I was like, get that girl testosterone check. I was like, fucking hell. I was like, damn, man. I mean, like, I think the fact that I was like, and then the fact that I was like, this is just Australian banter.
Yeah.
Imagine English banter. So,
Wait,
which
they-
is something that excited for the semifinal. Imagine Australian versus English banter. Let's see who wins.
Yeah.
And then
It's gonna be a fun time at Federation Square yet again for you.
exactly. Well, to be honest, I'm kind of scared if I go to Federation Square for that match because I'm not so sure if there's going to be a lot of England fans coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I reckon, like, if it's going to be England fans, I reckon, there might be fights and everything. And then last time I went there was flares.
Oh, all right.
There was a lot of flair.
Wow.
Imagine like just jumping around. So I was like with my mate, like literally next to me, and then like we were just jumping around. I was hugging like strangers, literally strangers.
Yeah.
Hugging them. We were just like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
And then somehow I don't know why I just like why is there a light at the back of my head? And I was like, and then when I saw there was the flare, and then like there was this shirtless dude grabbing the flare. He was just like
Waving it, yeah.
He was just like waving the flare, and then he threw it. I don't know elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't hit someone, but yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And-
could be like that kind of a passionate environment.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think it took me like 5 minutes to find my friend among the crowd because everyone was like, it was a mix of everyone going home,
Yeah.
and at the same time everyone was just partying, and then I was like, oh my god. But yeah, to be honest, that penalty shootout was serious. Was literally serious. Literally just
Amazing.
amazing. And then I think it was recorded as the longest World Cup penalty shootout for
As
both
well?
men and
Wow.
women. Yeah. So that's why it was so tense for us fans, especially in the Federation Square. So imagine it was like, whoa, yeah. And then even when they scored or when they make save, it was still the same level of celebration when we actually won the game. So that's why during that match, I don't know about you, but I kind of lost my voice. I've been trying to get it back. But yeah, I think during that game, you can really see the growth of Australian football and how I can really see a bright future for football in Australia. And that's the beauty. I think you can really see the fans just coming over. Okay, maybe some of them aren't actually like legitimate like football fans, but then I feel like this can be a step up. This can be a step up for the government to invest in football.
Yep.
And hopefully, in the upcoming years, we can even host the World Cup.
Yeah, men's World Cup.
Men's World Cup. We
Yeah.
already did the women's, we can do the men.
Yeah. I think that would be it, Andrea, for this week's episode.
Yeah, I agree. I think we covered a lot as well. So
Yeah.
that should be all.
Yeah, we'll be back again next week to discuss more Premier League action as well as hopefully a win for Man United against the Spurs.
Exactly. And maybe we'll be, if we have free time, then we'll talk about like the transfer window.
Yeah,
as well.
we'll talk about the
Well,
transfer window.
The transfer window has been crazy at the moment. So, yeah, we'll definitely see you back. And hopefully you guys enjoy the show, yeah? What do you think?
Yeah. By the way, Andrea, what would it take to stop the US team?
Sweden, apparently, by a millimeter.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.